Here you are at the beginning. You were discouraged on day one because the three people who you thought were locked and loaded and ready to crush it for you are now not here.
They give you big goals to achieve, and then they kind of just leave you alone. But when it comes to support, they kind of just disappear. A few months in, I was going to be done.
The worst spot, and I think we've all been there, is you need someone because someone's leaving and you don't have anyone.
That's a tough lesson. You take care of people, you treat them well, that they'll be there forever.
You started scratch?
0 on day one.
Where are you at now?
We're at 12 right now, 12 million book size.
So from 0 to 12, what it took to get there?
I just really had to start investing. Man, I had a crazy start in this insurance game. First day when we opened, we had 3 employees lined up. One showed up and got kicked out the same day. Couldn't pass his background check. My name is Tung in Houston, Texas, and I'm an insurance dude.
Boom! All right. Why did he pass the background check?
Oh man, he didn't. So what he told me was that he wrote a check.
Oh no! It can never start good.
It doesn't start good with a check. So he wrote a check for a family friend that ended up being a scam, and within the insurance industry, we're not too happy with financial fraud. So that day when we opened, the carrier called me and said, "Hey, you got to let this guy go." And I was like, "I have no one else." And like, good luck with that. Yeah. So it was a rough start. Been doing it since 2020. Been a hell of a journey so far. Lots of up and downs. A lot of just learning. And it's been a lot of fun actually. It's
What was your month in 2020 that you started?
We started March 2020.
Oh
yeah.
Oh. So prior to all the craziness.
Yeah, it was literally prior.
Like
it's really exactly.
That's like
oh my god.
March 1st, because that's when we started the telefunnel program,
Yeah.
right? It was March 1st too. And it was like, holy crap, they just told us to close everything. What are we doing?
Yeah. That's wild.
But it was probably the best decision that we ever made was to go, for lack of a better word, ape shit on March 1st of 2020, like just push, right?
Yeah, we did. We kept pushing, trying to figure things out. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. It wasn't fun. We had it was just crazy time. No one knew what was going on, Literally, it was right before, I guess, everything just broke loose and the country as a whole, got put on hold, and insurance was a challenging place to be. Yeah.
And you're in Louisiana?
We're in Texas. Yeah,
oh,
Texas. Yeah.
So it wasn't. You didn't have to close down, did you?
We did. We closed down. It was probably 3 months in, where it was essential workers is what it came down to. We qualified as essential workers here in Texas, but the team didn't feel safe, and it was doing the right thing at that point. And even though we had a sacrifice on that end, but it was really doing the right thing. Make sure people were safe, make sure they were in the right place.
So here you are at the beginning. You were discouraged on day one because the 3 people who you thought were locked and loaded and ready to crush it for you are now not here. You have 0. So it's Tung and a phone. How do you get through that? What was your mental state, and what did you do to
get through? Paid for all these internet leads, right? So it was all dialed in. You had X amount of internet leads per provider, producer. So I just went in, I started calling them and quoting them by myself, and we did that for probably good 2-3 weeks. And during that time, I was interviewing people, trying to get them in. Got the people who were supposed to line up to show up that day one, got a hold of them. They had whatever excuse. It was mainly COVID, so everyone had excuses at that point, right? So, navigated through that, got them in and taught them the system, taught them how to quote, how to talk on the phone, and this, that, and the other, and just really started, going. So it was painful. It was really painful. Yeah. My wife, she, she did what she could to support me, but she had no insurance background, so it was just it was the blind leading the blind at that point, unfortunately. Yeah.
You say it was. Talk a little bit more about what was painful about it.
So your carrier, they don't do much, right? They give you quotas, they give you metrics, they give you big goals to achieve, and then they kind of just leave you alone. But when it comes to support, it's they kind of just disappear. All right. So that was the challenging. You sign up for this brand, you sign up for certain things, and you expect certain things in return, right? And it didn't really happen that way. And that's when you really put on, I guess, your big boy pants or your ownership hat, and you really make it happen because you're the one paying the rent, you're the one paying the team, the leads, you're the one paying all of that, right? So it's but you grow a lot and you learn a lot too. I didn't think I had this in me, honestly. I thought, a few months in, I was going to be, I'm done. When the numbers don't match up, and and the bills are stacking up. But you push through, and you come out better on the other end. Yeah, because it's been a while, and we're still trying to figure it out, but we're more consistent in what we do. We've grown substantially since day one. So, but I'm still always here. I'm still always working. I can't figure that out yet. Yeah.
That comes. Where are you at now? So we're 5 years later. It's not 2024 anymore.
Right.
How are we halfway through 2025?
Yeah, it's June. Yeah. We're at 12 right now, 12 million book size. With Allstate, yeah. So it's been a journey. Yeah, it's been lots.
So from 0 to 12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot different.
Jason's curious what it took to get there.
Man, I just really had to start investing.
Especially starting off with no employees.
Yeah, I really had to start, listening to other agents around me that, every month they send out leaderboards, and you're like, who's this guy? What are they doing differently? And I started reaching out to them, and, they told me at that time, spend more money. There's plenty of fish in the pond. You're not my competition, end of the day, so they were really open book about their systems and processes. And I really adopted that, and, started building the team slowly. We had, 2 to 3 employees. We're up to 12 now. But it really is just, reaching out to people who are doing it at a higher level than you. And from that point, either you take you take their advice or you don't. And I really bought into what they were doing. They shared their journeys, and, so it was really that, buying into what other people are doing at a higher level.
And you started scratch?
Yeah, zero on day one.
And you haven't acquired, did you acquire any books?
We acquired one last year. It was just a small one. We acquired like a $3 million last year. So
you've done 9
organically.
Plus whatever fell off, actually.
Exactly.
So a lot more than 9. Which is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
That is amazing.
It is.
You did it backwards. Most people buy a book and then sell. You sold a ton and then bought a book.
Yeah, it's
I bought it, lost a ton, and said, "Oh crap, I need to make something happen here."
No, we So again, it's been a great journey. We get to see what the next 5-10 years looks like. We get to kind of play that out and see what that looks like. As I talk to bigger agents, they tell me it's a good place to be. So I'm happy that I stumbled into insurance, and hope to keep it going strong for as long as I can. Yeah.
How big's the team now?
We got 12 now. Yeah, we just brought on an extra service person. Yeah.
How are you like talk about a little bit about some of the processes that you guys have in your agency now?
So we have, at first everyone was hybrid. So now we have an actual service team, we have a sales team. And so it helps it really does help with synergy actually, because at first I was like, well, if we separate everyone, people are gonna, they're gonna go their separate ways. But we found that it does help. Production's up, customers are happy. Service team, they're happy at what they do. They don't do a lot of production, so they're happy taking care of what we bring in. Um, so that's been the biggest thing is separating the two sides of the business. Um, which again, I came from a smaller agency, 3 or 4 people, so it was everyone doing everything. So it was
Yeah.
different to take that approach and see it really work. And everyone's happier now too. Service people don't produce, so they don't feel the pressure of always having to produce. Sales people don't like to mess
Right.
with service, so they're just happy just producing. So, um, but yeah, so that was kind of cool to really execute on that, because I didn't think I would be able to get to this point.
That's awesome, man. Super cool. So what do you look for when you're hiring? What's your hiring process like?
We use ideal traits. So we send out those little surveys that they have, and it kind of helps guide me in if they are a service person or a salesperson. We ask
Awesome.
typical questions. What challenges you have at your previous job, stuff like that. So it's just pretty typical stuff. Nothing different or special. Just I think it's just the consistency. I always have a pipeline of people to call. Helps too. Yeah.
It's important. It's important to always have a pool that you can call from. The worst spot, and I think we've all been there, is you need someone because someone's leaving and you don't have anyone.
That's a tough lesson.
That's,
That is a tough lesson.
yeah.
You assume, you take care of people, you treat them well, that they'll be there forever. But, everyone has their different roads of, success or whatever path they go on. But yeah, we learned that the hard way at the beginning too. You lose a top producer, your month is gone. Yeah.
Right.
So I learned that, and we always have, a lot of resumes to call upon now.
Are you interviewing even when you don't need somebody?
I try to, but sometimes we get busy. But I do interview as much as I can. It also keeps the team on their toes too. So that's one of the reasons I learned that from one of my mentors.
Yeah, I think that the pain of that cycle that gets created from the need to hire situation, right? Now you need somebody, so you make a bad decision again, bring somebody on.
That's the worst.
And it just keeps happening. And then now this is the wrong person, but you don't have somebody else lined up, so you keep them. Now they're affecting culture. It just unravels, right? And the biggest solution for that has just been to constantly be interviewing. Like we interview every week, because you never know. You never know when somebody's going to go to lunch
and not come back.
That's the worst.
So that's funny. So this happened. This happened a while ago, actually. We had one of our top producers leave. She was going to what was she doing? One of those multi-level marketing life insurance companies.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So she thought she could do it there, and so again, just let her go. But she was recruiting people within the office to go with her during lunch. Yeah. That was painful. That was really painful. I was like, hey, how was, I thought she was just going to lunch, just say goodbyes and, whatnot. But that's what it was. It came down to trying to recruit the next person in the pipeline for her. Yeah.
Have you talked to her since?
No, we kind of just part ways, But I guess I could have led with that story, because that was pretty recent, yeah. But
That's so funny.
it's wild, right? Yeah, and so you just never know. Yeah, you never, and good people are so hard to find.
Yeah, it's true. Well, Craig had an instance where he let someone go. They tried it at the new agency because they always think it's going to be like 10 times better.
Well, she couldn't show up on time, and she was given an ultimatum. You either show up on time or you're gone. And she chose, I'll be gone. Okay. And she was like, she's back. Last month she wrote 60K.
Wow.
So she's an important piece, right? But I knew she'd come back because I know that in my market there isn't anybody who provides, enough leads per day, 30, 35 leads per day for each agent, and it has two they get 2 telemarketers. Like they're getting fed. It couldn't be any easier for a very difficult position, right? And yes, she came back, and it was really good because I told my ops manager, I said, hey, she's gonna come back. I think that she'll likely come back. But give her, a little bit of a cold shoulder just to, make her really want to come back. And it worked, and she came back and she told everybody, like, which was fantastic, right? Like she told everybody in the office, you do not want to go anywhere else. I've been out there and it's horrible. Like it was make the dials. You got to make the dials. You got to make the dials. And there you go.
I think that I like that story because it's a good lesson in, like, some people have the ego problem of like, oh, I never hired them back after they left. Ugh. But then again, it's like, yeah, like I love the fact that like she's telling everyone how much better it is. She's not leaving. Like now she's solidified all those questions of like, should I, because every employee asks that, right? They're thinking in their head, should I leave? Is there a better opportunity out there? Right. Like they're all thinking this, but like actually hiring them back is not that bad of a.
That's a pride thing, right?
I mean, if you,
yeah.
I mean, is it ego or results? Which one do you want, right? Like I don't care about the ego. I'm over 50 now. It doesn't matter. I realize I don't
even
know
work in the agency.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that. My why is, or my what what I want. I don't want to work in the agency like that. That is I've done it. I've been in the trenches. I've done the whole thing. I'm 20 years in. I don't need to do that crap anymore. I don't want to. So it was create the system and process that I don't have to. Right. And that is the case. Right now, if I were to lose my ops guy, I'd have a little bit of an issue. Right.
Yeah.
But you'd be back in there.
I'd be in trouble. So that's an important thing, but he's taken care of very well. And he's steady, right? He's not like, if you looked at his disc profile, it's much different than mine, right? I have a real high I, real high D. I don't do well sitting in the same thing, doing the same things over and over again. I get bored really fast. So, but he's the opposite, and he's English. They just plug along.
And they sound lovely.
And he sounds so sophisticated. If you're listening, you sound very sophisticated.
It's a great accent.
Yeah.
So, a lot of changes have been happening over the last few years and stuff. Like, what are you, what are some strategies you got going for the upcoming next few years?
So one of the things that we do pretty often is, everyone wins by zip codes, right? Zip codes are the name of the game, and data. So I've been diving into data a lot more. There's a lot of vendors out there that we use, but just overall, just understanding, we do mailers, we do internet leads. So just understanding the zip codes and where we win as a carrier, and just really just double down and just getting nerdy with it, right? So that's what we've been doing differently. I shop around vendors every 3 to 6 months. So every 3 to 6 months, I really get on the phone with my account rep. We have a conversation on what's working, what's not, and if it's not, then we got to let them go. But then I also reuse them 6 months down the road because for whatever reason, leads got better 6 months down the road. So right. it's just a cycle of rinse, repeat, and again, we only use 5 or 7 actual vendors out there. There's a lot of small guys that we're not allowed to use, but as far as the ones we're allowed to use, there's only a handful. So, and then just pretty much rinse, just reusing them over and over and getting better with the data on the zip codes that we're allowed to do business in.
Awesome. Are there any processes like within that you can share?
On the zip codes, we have
like what are you looking at? What are you What are you doing with that exactly?
On the zip codes, we look at how much we write, the average, how much per household that we're getting out of it. On the mailers, we look at response rates. We look at how many pieces we mail, how many people are responding, close ratios, all of those things, all of those metrics that I never looked at in the beginning, because in the beginning I was just writing business just to write business. But now we're looking for more quality business in certain zip codes. Yeah, when I started, right now, we're bringing in, I guess, better quality clients, that don't file claim every time the wind blows. So it helps a lot on that end.
That's awesome. How are you holding your team accountable?
Same metrics. We have, just to Jason's point, we have, people have to make phone calls. People have to text message. They have to email. And a lot of the tools that we have with Allstate now, it does track all of that. So I can just log in and look at their numbers, and we can have that conversation on why they're having a bad day or a bad month. And it's all pretty much right there. You're not making enough calls. You're not texting enough, whatever the case. And it allows me to make those adjustments live as I see them.
What are some ways that you're like, what's happening when they are having those low numbers? Like, how are you getting them back on track?
We do a lot of one-on-ones, a lot of just sitting down and just having a conversation realistically. It could be, most of the time it's not work related. It's something outside of work. Most of the time it's something personal that is just holding them back for whatever reason. It could be something as simple as, relationship issues. So yeah, a lot of times just really having that conversation, just that human contact, and seeing what's going on with them outside of work. And a lot of times that does solve it. It's usually something simple. They come back the next day motivated, knowing that, I actually do care. You're not just a number in the office. So a lot of times it really is something as simple as that. That's what I learned a lot during this journey, is that my team that's it. I need them much more than they need me to keep this thing going.
But they also create the opportunity to scale,
exactly.
Right? Like without, it's like you need them more than they need you. However, when we give them huge opportunity, they need you more and more, right? Like in my story. And I think if they're aware of the position that you've put them in by providing, all these leads, by providing the callers, by providing the you said mailers, it really makes them understand that if they want to do this, like this job, then they do need you, right? They are they need you because they can't find it elsewhere, right? There aren't a lot of agents that do provide what you provide.
That's true.
And that's the same reason why there's a lot of agents that have not grown or written 9 million over the last 5 years or 4 years, right? Like you'd be to put, and it's more than that, whatever your retention, you could back it out. Let's say you wrote 12 million over the last 5 years. I mean, how many agents in the market that you're in did that? Probably none, right? And so to be part of that is an exclusive group. And I think it's important that they know that, right? Like showing them my team that that's the situation by having that one lady leave and then end up coming back. Like, it's like, oh crap, like this is different if I want to do this, right? And so that's my 2 cents. Wasn't really a question.
No,
but I do have a question. You mentioned that you buy the leads, you do the leads thing, which is how we run everything, but also that you do some mailers. I used to, and I got away from that because I found that if I have mailers and I have leads, they're always going to take the mailer call over the leads. And it became this like tug of war between the two sources. So I'm curious how you've created an environment where both are possible.
So mailers go to only certain people. They go to closers, unfortunately, which is, and I do make that pretty clear. Yeah, I make it clear, that, if you're not a closer, you're not, you don't get these calls. That's kind of that simple. But you are right. Yeah, people love mailers, right? The close rate's high. You're talking to somebody live. They're not angry. They want a quote. They may be angry at the end when you give them the price, but overall, they're wanting a quote. So what we did is we don't get a lot of response on mailers. We get maybe 10, maybe 20 for the month, but again, they're high close rate, so they only go to 2 or 3 of my producers, and everyone else, until they prove themselves, they don't get them.
What's your cost per sale on mailers?
Oh, they're really high. They're really high. I think it's around $550. Yeah.
So, that's the other thing I ran into. So I'm curious, why buy business for $550 if you know over on the leads you get it for $200, right? Your acquisitions cost is closer to $200 or less, right? Sometimes, I mean, we've been as low as $100 on some lead sources. So, what's the incentive to do that?
There really isn't any, is there? Well, for us, it's metrics. Allstate wanted more homes, and that's how I can get at least more home opportunities. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it was just, I guess, chasing the carrot always. Yeah. So we have to make adjustments to whatever a carrier wants, and so that's what that was. That's what the mailers. Again, we don't spend a huge amount on mailers, but we spend it's substantial. It's enough to I feel it in my on my credit card. That's for sure.
I bet you spent $5,000. So you spent $5,000 on mailers, and you get 10 deals out of that, right? So, and then if you took that same $5,000 and you spent it on leads, you'd get, I don't know, however many more, right? But then it's just a function of moving.
Yeah, it's just we're just really moving funds around essentially. That's why the mailers they're good leads. They're good leads. They're just really expensive. But
you guys have awesome premium out there. And
we do. We do. We got crazy premium.
That's why he could do it. Yeah, because he could afford the $500 acquisition cost because of the premium.
Average household here is easily 29. Yeah. Easy. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Well, they're bigger. Everything's bigger in Texas.
We also have really bad weather. It's one of those, almost every month consumer calls complaining about this, that, and the other. And you have to remember them that, you have to remind them that, hey, you live in Texas, so do I. Right. My rates aren't that much cheaper than yours. So, but yeah, it's a good place to be. It's a good place to be. It's growing. There's literally, brand new neighborhoods popping up all over the place and people moving in.
Thanks to California.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Well, what's on the what are you looking forward to? You've come so far in such a short period of time. What's your vision for your agency?
Oh man, the vision is we got here, we're gonna stay steady, continue growing, but stay steady, hopefully get an operations person in here, and I can rest a little bit, right? I'm here all the time, and I think again to Jason's point, that's the goal, right? We build this thing up, and we want to enjoy it, right? Right now, it's just I'm here every day grinding, so it's really continue to grow, and spend more time with the family. I've been doing this nonstop since 2020. So that's kind of the vision, just to get the right people in place, build that vision for the team that, hey, it really isn't greener on the other side, and just grow from there. That's the thing. My biggest vision, was really having a place where people can make a good living. It's not to your point, it's you can make a lot of money selling insurance, and that's kind of the biggest thing I want from my team is that buy-in of I can make a good living here. I don't have to continue shopping. This is a career versus just hopping around from job to job all the time.
Awesome, man. Well,
I just thought of something. This may be helpful, and every now and then I come up with a good idea. But you said, gosh, I know. Hold on, there's smoke coming out of my ears. So you're a data nerd. You have the data that you go through and this information. I'm just curious if it, or I wonder if it would be beneficial to use that data to identify the neighborhoods or zip codes where you have a higher bundling of home and auto, right? Then you could where you said you use the mail. I just like when somebody says mailers, I get like, it's such a waste of money. So if you were to take that money used on the mailers and invest it in neighborhoods that are going to have a higher likelihood of bundling into a home, not renters, right? Like, so these are zip codes where you have that high home auto, then you could, for all intents and purposes, like really dramatically increase, like maybe it's a different backdoor into that home part. That's what we found has worked. So it won't work in Arizona. If you're in Arizona, that does not work. Absolutely does not work. Don't do that.
No, we're still learning the data. We're still learning it. That's the thing. And then, when you do mailers, you're just so limited to zip codes unless you do it yourself, which is not something I want to ever try doing. Yeah. Yeah. But there's some agents out there that do it themselves, and I'm in awe of what they're able to do. They mine all the data, they print out all the mailers, and they ship them all out themselves. And that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, if that's where you put all of your focus, great, that'll work. But it's kind of like, are you a passing team or are you a running team, right? Like if you're a passing team, then you got to stick with throwing the ball and not try to run it up the middle every time, right? Like you're a passing team. So it's just interesting. Like for me, and I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but like having multiple strategies was challenging. And I kept looking at, my cost per sale is close to 500 with my mailers. So if I flip it and my cost per sale over here is 150, 200, man, I'm getting 3 times the result for the same thing. And the people are more focused, right? So just an idea.
No, absolutely. Yeah. It's been an on and off relationship with mailers. It's just metrics changed, so we just added them back on recently. But that's definitely good insight.
Yeah. Well, Tung, awesome work on your agency, and the growth that you've had is awesome, man. Like, congrats, especially the fact that you start from scratch and then you were able to build that much before even buying a book. I know it's like that's the hard way to go, but like how much you learn is incredible. So it's a testament to like everything you've learned to be able to do that. So that's incredible, dude. But we'll definitely have to check in with you in the future, see how everything's going. And yeah, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate your time, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Good to have you.